Ryan to root for Claressa. I really am. I ain't gonna lie. I got a little bothered when her cousin did an interview. Now, yeah, I allowed the interview because I'm messy. I'm a messy bitch like that. You feel me? I can't help who I am. But I did feel just a little bit sorry for Claressa when her cousin Shalita came on my platform and literally, I said, what are people saying that you dragging her down?
What if everything you defended was never loyalty at all? According to Tasha K., this was never about rumors. It was about receipts that took weeks to verify quietly, off camera, off timelines, and away from the noise. She says the truth did not arrive all at once. It surfaced in fragments, overlapping dates that did not line up, the same voice notes sent to different women, and the same excuses recycled, only delivered to new inboxes, while Claressa Shields stood publicly confident, posting strength, love, and belief. The foundation was already cracking in private. Tasha K claims people tried to warn her more than once. But Claressa was in love mode, trust mode, defending a loyalty that did not actually exist. Because according to what was uncovered, Papoose was not juggling one secret situation. He was managing a system. 5 women, 5 roles, 1 for emotional support, 1 kept quiet, 1 from the past that never truly ended, 1 recent, and 1 held as a future option. This was not chaos. It was structure. And Claressa, whether she knew it or not, was standing inside something that was never designed to protect her. The moment that shattered everything did not happen online. It happened quietly on Christmas. The day she believed was theirs was already booked. That was when the collapse began. Not in tears, not on camera, but in realization. Because when love turns into multitasking, the real question is who stays after the truth.
But on this Christmas with him, this very special Christmas with him, yeah. Apparently, Claressa spent Christmas alone in the Louis Vuitton store, racking up about $30,000 in bills this Christmas. Okay. Papoose was with his family, LV store on Christmas because she couldn't attend the family gatherings, even though she says she's family. And she says that Papoose is divorcing Remy, even though the last time I saw, I don't know if things are being done, is that Remy withdrew from that divorce.
She opened it with certainty. This isn't rumors, she said. These are receipts. That distinction mattered because according to her, this was not something she reacted to overnight. This was something she sat with, verified quietly, and cross-checked without noise. Names were confirmed. Timelines were compared. Patterns were tested. And when everything finally lined up, what came into focus was not just a messy relationship. It was something far more calculated. She claimed that multiple people tried to warn Claressa Shields long before the public ever noticed anything was wrong. Not aggressively, not publicly. Just quiet conversations, subtle nudges, questions that did not quite add up. But according to Tasha, Claressa was in love mode. And love mode has a way of turning red flags into background noise. She trusted the loyalty she was being shown. She trusted the reassurance. She trusted the version of the story that made her feel chosen. What she did not realize, at least not yet, was that loyalty was not being broken in one place. It was being divided across several. Then came the first bombshell. 5, not 1. Tasha K's initial claim changed the entire scope of the situation. This was not about one extra woman. It was not about one mistake. It was not even about one secret relationship. According to what she uncovered, Papoose was simultaneously involved with 5 different women, each occupying a different lane in his life. One woman served as emotional support, someone he leaned on, confided in, and checked in with consistently. Another relationship was kept quiet, low-key, intentionally off social media and out of sight. There was also a long-term past situation that never truly ended, history that lingered, comfort that remained accessible. Then came a recent hookup, short-term and impulsive, but still active. And finally, there was one more woman described as a future option, kept close enough to remain available but distant enough to stay undefined. Tasha K did not frame this as chaos. She framed it as design. He was not just in a relationship, she said. He was running a system, and in that system, every woman served a different purpose. What made the story harder to dismiss was the absence of flashy screenshots or leaked images. It was the way the details overlapped. Timelines collided instead of flowing cleanly. Travel dates did not make sense when placed side by side. Voice notes carried the same tone and phrasing sent to different women. The excuses felt familiar, almost scripted: work obligations, family responsibilities, scheduling conflicts. Only the recipients changed. And the more those patterns emerged, the clearer one thing became. The loyalty Claressa was publicly defending looked very different behind the scenes. Publicly, she appeared composed, confident, unbothered. She posted strength and control, but according to Tasha K., privately it was not that simple. She claimed Claressa had already seen some messages. Not everything, but enough to raise questions. Instead of confronting it directly, Claressa reportedly searched for context, alternate meanings, explanations, reasons to believe what she was seeing did not apply to her. That she was different, that her place was secure. Which ultimately led to the question no one wanted to ask out loud: was Claressa the main woman or just the most visible one?
So I felt sorry for Claressa when she was in there blowing a bag, 30,000, and then she had to take the bag to Papoose and acted as if Papoose gave her the bag.
To give me nothing from Louis, for real. I don't know why you did that, but you didn't. You didn't have to.
It's Christmas.
You didn't have to give me.
This moment mattered because, according to Tasha K., it was never about money, it was about behavior. The hesitation, the slip, the performance layered over reality. Small moments often reveal what big statements try to hide. And to Tasha K., the real turning point didn't happen during an argument. It didn't happen online. It didn't happen publicly at all. It happened on Christmas. According to her account, Claressa Shields spent that day alone. The explanation she was given was simple: family obligations. But the reality, as the exposed framed it, was far more painful. Papoose wasn't unavailable. He wasn't isolated. He was with Remima and his daughter. That distinction changed everything. As Tasha K. put it bluntly, the day Claressa believed was their holiday was already booked. What made it worse wasn't just the lie. It was the framing. Claressa was told that family comes first, yet she was never truly included in that family circle. While this was unfolding privately, the public narrative told a very different story. Claressa continued posting couple content, throwbacks, supportive captions. From the outside, it looked unified, stable, secure. But according to Tasha K., behind the scenes, the energy didn't match. He was emotionally distant. Future plans were vague. Decisions were made without her input. As the story framed it, she was creating girlfriend content while he was building an exit strategy. When the title says Claressa collapses, Tasha K. was clear. This wasn't physical. There were no public tears, no breakdown video, no dramatic moment caught on camera. This collapse was quieter than that. It was the collapse of trust, the collapse of certainty, the collapse of the version of reality she had been defending. This wasn't a crying collapse, it was a realization collapse. And those are harder to recover from. Tasha K. emphasized one thing repeatedly. She wasn't trying to turn Claressa into a villain. She wasn't attacking her strength or questioning her worth. She said she was exposing a system, a pattern where powerful men juggle emotional access across multiple women while presenting a single, control image to the public. Claressa, she argued, wasn't weak. She was misinformed. As the story spread, Papoose didn't erupt. There were no lengthy denials, no detailed breakdowns, no emotional counterstatements. Just short remarks and minimal engagement. And to Tasha K., that silence wasn't accidental. When receipts are real, she said, silence becomes strategy. If 5 women were involved, if Christmas was a lie, if the system was real, then the story stopped being gossip. It became a decision because the real collapse isn't public. It's the moment Claressa decides whether to walk away or stay inside. Something she now understands. By this point, one thing became impossible to ignore. Nothing was being denied. Nothing was being clarified. Nothing was being explained. And in situations like this, silence doesn't mean confusion. It means calculation. According to Tasha K., what unfolded next was an emotional chaos. It was strategic restraint. While the public debated timelines, receipts, and Christmas lies, the central figure slowed everything down. No interviews, no long statements, no emotional appeals. Just enough presence to signal awareness and just enough distance to avoid saying anything that could be challenged later. Tasha K interpreted this not as fear, but as experience. Because when someone has managed multiple narratives at once, they already know the most dangerous thing they can do is talk too much. Talking exposes the system, and by now the system was visible. This was no longer about whether multiple women existed. It was about how long the system had been running. According to Tasha K's account, each woman existed in a different emotional lane, and none of them were meant to collide. Overlapping dates were accidents. They were scheduled risks. Travel timing wasn't random. It was staggered intentionally. The structure only worked as long as every woman believed her role was unique. Claressa's role, according to the narrative, wasn't secrecy. It was visibility. She was the most public presence, the most defended. The one whose strength and confidence made the entire situation appear stable from the outside. And that mattered because as long as she looked solid, the system stayed protected. Tasha K suggested something darker beneath the surface. Claressa didn't just trust blindly, she actively defended the trust. When questions surfaced, she contextualized them. When inconsistencies appeared, she reframed them. When timelines clashed, she told herself there had to be a reasonable explanation she just hadn't seen yet. This wasn't weakness. It was emotional investment colliding with cognitive dissonance. Because admitting the truth would mean admitting something far more painful, that loyalty was never exclusive. And once that realization begins, everything else starts to unravel, midway. Through the story, Tasha K returned to a moment that seemed insignificant on the surface. A comment, a pause, a slip. Small moments don't need permission to be revealing. They just need to be honest. A mention of an LV store on Christmas. The inability to attend family gatherings despite being called family. Claims that a divorce was moving forward. Followed by reports that it wasn't. This wasn't gossip. It was pressure. Because if the divorce wasn't progressing, then nothing was actually being cleared. No clean exits, no clean starts. Just people suspended in emotional limbo. According to Tasha K, the divorce narrative wasn't about legality. It was about leverage. As long as things remained unresolved, power stayed exactly where it was. No finality meant no accountability. No paperwork meant no public closure. And for someone running multiple emotional lanes, unresolved status was an advantage. Publicly, Claressa still appeared composed. No breakdown posts, no accusations, no emotional rants. But Tasha K claimed the internal pressure was intensifying. She described a woman torn between what she felt and what she had already defended publicly. Because once you defend a narrative loudly, walking it back becomes humiliating. And humiliation more than heartbreak is what keeps people silent longer than they should be. Tasha K highlighted a pattern she said appears often in situations like this. The strongest woman in the room is often expected to absorb the most damage quietly. People assume she's fine. They assume she's processed everything. But strength doesn't stop realization from hurting. It only delays when you allow it to show. As the allegations spread, the lack of response grew louder than any denial could have been. No rebuttals, no corrections, no counter-evidence. According to Tasha K, silence had become a weapon. By this stage, the story stopped being about 5 women or Christmas. It became about a single, brutal question. If I walk away now, who do I become? Walking away doesn't just end a relationship. It rewrites your public identity. Staying demands a different. Sacrifice silence, compartmentalization, and living with knowledge you can't unsee. Neither option offers peace. They only offer different kinds of loss. Tasha K made it clear she wasn't pushing Claressa toward a specific choice. She framed it as a reckoning. This wasn't about exposing a woman. It was about exposing a pattern one. Where power is maintained through ambiguity and accountability is delayed through silence. By the end, the word collapse took on its full meaning. Not tears, not headlines, not embarrassment. It was the collapse of illusion. And once illusion breaks, there's no going back, because the real collapse never happens in public. It happens the moment someone decides whether to protect the image or finally protect themselves.